5:15 p.m., so I am going to call to order the Rock Valley College Community College District Number 511 Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, here in the ATC. Can we have a roll call?
Nelson,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Trojan,
Yes.
Goldsmith, yes. Kudia,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Salto,
Yes.
Gorski,
Yes.
you're here.
And since we're all here, we can do away with item C. So, D, communications and petition and/or public comment. We have Mark Bielen here to speak. Up at the podium here.
This is great. You get the podium and
And I
everything.
reminded him he's got 3 minutes to speak, but if he
Hello.
poses stuff in a way that makes us ask questions, the questions don't go against his 3 minutes. Okay?
How you doing, guy? Is this on? Can you hear me? All right, so I'm here regarding the janitorial bid, 2521. Okay, we submitted a bid on it, and we came in third overall, if you go by, but it's all about the months because it's 2 years and 9 months on the addendum. But then they just changed it because initially we were supposed to be, you guys were decide the janitorial bid last month. But when I came to the meeting last month, Karen said that, oh, there's so many proposals we have to go through, and it's going to take time. And just currently, it's EBM. But if we go by the numbers that are presented, years 2 and 3, we're the lowest. It's a 3-year, is it 33 months, is it 32 months, or is it, we put in 36 months. But if you do the math, the first year should actually be by how many months the contract's gonna start. There's no way anybody could start a new contract when you're gonna decide it on October 28th. That's when it's gonna be awarded. And then the only one that can do that is the incumbent, which is in there now, EBM. So, but if you do the math, we're right there. We're second, plus we're local. We pay Rockford taxes, Rockford employees. We're local. We're right here. EBM, they're from Minnesota. The other top 3, they're all from Chicago, Tennessee. So that's what we're looking at. I want you to look at it. We're local, and we're year 2 and 3. We're the lowest. The first year we messed up on the 9 months. We 12 months, but you have to do what we're billing monthly. The monthly is divided by 12, but the contract's only 33 months on the addendum. But then they just changed when you're going to approve it. It was going to be approved in September. Now it's approved in October. So something has to change. So I think you have to go by, for the first year, by the months, the billing months. And if you do that, we're almost first. So that's what I'm here to talk about. So.
Anything else on that? Anybody have any questions? Gloria?
What was the name of your company again, sir?
Clean Tech.
Sorry?
Clean Tech.
Okay.
Clean. Clean. Yeah. Peterson Cleaning, Clean Tech, yes.
So I'd just like to remind our own board and some people in the room that we're obligated to go with the lowest responsible bidder for, bids and the like when we put out for this. But what I'm hearing here is there might be an inconsistency in the bid responses or maybe the bid itself. So I'm going to be instructing President Spearman to work with his staff to review the bid, make sure it's consistent, and that the original bid meets the bids, the responses kind of align up to that. I'm not making you any promises other than you've asked us to take another look at it. I'm asking him to work with his team to take a look at it.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
All right.
We
thank
appreciate you
Thank
stopping
you.
by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other last minute public comment? All right. So, recognition of visitors.
Besides, I think everybody's here with Clean Tech, or is it a different group? I think everybody else.
Any other visitors?
Are there any other visitors here today from coming? Okay.
Okay. And minutes of the committee of the whole meeting have been presented in your packet. And we have a general presentation from the Rock Valley College Foundation. And if you can't hear me, just tell me, I'll speak up.
Good evening, trustees, cabinet, friends, and peers.
I don't think that's speaking.
Thank you tonight for giving me the opportunity. Can you all hear me? Okay.
I don't think it's working.
Me talk louder? Okay. Thank you all for having me tonight to share some impact at a glance with you on behalf of the Rock Valley College Foundation. So if you can go to the next slide, please. As you can see, over the last 5 years, the foundation and our donors have raised $10.6 million. We've seen a significant increase in our scholarship offerings that we have available. Since our inception in 1979 to present day, we now hold 190 unique scholarship opportunities. To show you that growth that we've seen this year, just this calendar year alone, we have increased by 40 new scholarships. So out of that overall 190 that we hold, 40 are brand new starting this January. We're now in week 41 of the year, so you can see we are averaging about 1 new scholarship each week. To compare that to years past, some years we ranged from anywhere from 2 new scholarships a year. A great year would be around 11, so 40 new scholarships this year has been a tremendous boom for us. The next slide will paint a picture of that growth. So between 1979 and roughly around 2014, our scholarship offering totals stayed pretty flat, and then you've seen great increase, especially after 2020 and 2021. When looking at this year's scholarship opportunities, we're pleased to share that we have awarded, so this slide, it says 416. We're continuing to award each day, so right now we're at 438 scholarships awarded. And that total now, as of today, is up to $758,060 that we've awarded. We broke a record this year, so we offer our scholarship application 2 times a year. We call Best Chance, which is February through April 1st. Last Chance, we try to award any remaining funds that we have left over to students who may have either missed that window of opportunity in the spring, or they're brand new and did not know about the opportunities. So if we can go to the next slide. You'll see there that we had $874,000 available to award. As I just shared, again, this number has jumped to $758,000 as of today. Where that discrepancy lies, I would just want to make you aware, we do not believe that to be due to lack of awareness, lack of engagement. It really boils down to donor restrictions. Every one of our scholarship carries anywhere between 3 to 5 points of specific criteria that the donor assigns when they create that scholarship. So the biggest pool of money that we have remaining, and it has been the last few years, is our engineering money. Dr. Spearman and I, though, just recently met with members of the Woodward Charitable Trust and addressed that issue with them. So we feel the biggest sticking point is that a lot of our engineering scholarships require financial need, and not every student in that pool has demonstrated financial need. So what that does is it leaves money on the table. So we've gone back to them to ask them to consider, loosening that criteria. We hope to hear back from them hopefully by November. Other areas of restrictions that we see, we have a decent amount of music money And we just don't have the music program that we did when those donors created that scholarship. Some of the funds still were yet to be awarded. So when we look at our RAISE program for students with intellectual disabilities, CNC, these programs, massage therapy, dental assistant, medical assistant, they fall outside of that fall, spring awarding period. So that number, this discrepancy will continue to shrink as the year goes on. We can go to the next slide. So this slide just shows you why I stand behind that we do not believe this to be a lack of awareness or engagement. We, the foundation team, although small but mighty, hosted 17 different workshops or hands-on workshops in area high schools. These are scholarship booths on our campus or throughout our community. So all of this activity led up to our February and March and April scholarship period. These visits are continuing again in this fiscal year. We've already had, I'd say, 4 or 5 area high schools reach out and schedule us to come in and do hands-on workshops for their students. That was the first year we've done that last year, and it was incredible. Many of the students completed the application process while we were right there. We were able to call IT on the fly, have them help troubleshoot students who could not get into their email, could not get into the application. And we saw great success with students completing and receiving those scholarships. Next slide. This slide, hopefully everyone can see, just shows the growth in dollars that we have available for scholarships. So you can see between 2011 and 2014, we were averaging around 140,000. So FY26, we have 900,000 available to award. But we're not just scholarships. I think that's sometimes a misconception of what the foundation does. We also raise money for program support. In fiscal year 25, we raised $1.15 million for scholarships. For program support. That goes straight into program enhancements, classroom enhancements, in terms of state-of-the-art equipment, student clubs. We support lifelong learners from Whiz Kids all the way up through our Center for Learning and Retirement. And then we also had 50 students who we kept enrolled and on track to complete through our emergency relief program. So those are outside of our scholarship scope, but these are students who have found themselves in sudden financial crisis, and they have indicated to a faculty member or a staff member of the college that they are thinking about stopping out or dropping out. We have an emergency safety net now through our emergency relief fund, so we kept 50 students enrolled and on track to complete with a short stopgap in finances. Some of those kept students housed. Some of them we help with transportation, because if you live in Rockford and your program is CNC and your car breaks down, how do you get here? So again, very busy. We averaged about 1 every week last year. This week alone, we've received 3. So that is at a glance what we've done. This is where we're headed now on the next slide. Downtown West campaign. We set a goal, if you remember, to raise $2.5 million in support of scholarships in conjunction with the Downtown West facility being built. We've stayed in the quiet phase, but I'm happy to share we're at 2.57 and growing without ever going public. So our internal goal now is $4 million. We will continue to raise money for this. We will continue. I feel like we've only scratched the tip of the iceberg at this point, because again, we were quiet. A lot of these donors self-identified. If you'll go to the next slide, it might be blurry, so I apologize, but this just shows you the various naming opportunities that we have. So this is for the Learning Center, and those opportunities range from $50,000 to $2 million for the exterior. And you can see those red sold signs are the rooms that we have current donors' names attached to. So I only have 1 classroom left if anyone is interested. I also have an exterior building if anyone's interested. And then if we can go to the next slide, this is almost identical, but this is for the training center. And so I'm thrilled to share that we have a donor who has named the Automotive Technology Lab at $500,000, and then we have a classroom and a lobby taken so far. Dr. Spearman and I have made an ask of a local organization to consider either naming a gift at the $500,000 or a $2 million level, which we hope to know by November. And then next slide, we have athletic turf naming opportunities. So later in the meeting, you'll be presented with a fundraising agreement that we hope you'll consider signing between the foundation, athletics, and the college for the foundation to be able to try to seek donors to name all 3 of those turf fields. We've identified a gift level at $500,000 per field with the opportunity for the donor to make that payable over 5 years. These are a bit unique in that after the 5 years, their name will either come down, or if the college gives us the go-ahead, that we could have the opportunity for them to renew or find someone else who would like to put their name on that field. All of the funds raised through this will be directed to athletic scholarship support, which we hope would create a nice revenue stream for athletic scholarships. And last, not on this slide, I just wanted to share a fun but meaningful opportunity for our trustees to consider with a personal gift as we approach this holiday season, which I can't believe we're talking at holidays already. But last year, members of RVC Police Department came to us with the idea of creating almost like a shop with a cop that is nationwide, but something that would benefit our Golden Eagle family members. So we came up with Holiday Helpers. Last year, we were able to raise money through faculty and staff support for our RVC PD members to shop with one employee who was nominated and one student who was nominated. Through those 2 moms, we were able to support 6 kids and make sure that those 6 kids, their 6 kids, had a bright holiday season as their families were struggling financially. So we'd like to redo that this year, and we have put out a plea to faculty and staff. Our goal is 2,000. We've raised 600. Internally today, we were trying to brainstorm who else could we ask, who else would care about members of our Golden Eagle family like we do, without always relying on faculty and staff, who are also many of them are also already giving through payroll deduct for other areas of the college. So if any of you are interested in being part of Holiday Helpers at RVC by making a gift that's meaningful to you, you can either reach out to me, or if you go on our website, at the very top of the Rock Valley College website, you'll see that word give. We want to make it visible and easy to access. You can hit give, go to gift designation, and then type in Holiday Helpers. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'll start down here with Crystal. Any questions?
Nope, not right now.
Isaiah? No. Gloria?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Bob?
So in summary, you already have $2.5 million for downtown identified, committed. You're looking to raise that another 1.5, and you're looking for 1.5 for 3 athletic fields.
Correct.
A total of $5.5 million.
Correct.
That is remarkable. And I wish you all the success, because that is huge. Probably never done at Rock Valley College before, that amount of money,
I agree.
Chris?
right?
Well, thank you, Bob. It hasn't happened yet, but we will do our best.
The goal, you got the goal, and that I think is important enough to start.
Yes.
Yep.
Kristen's passing. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I might ask, Brittany, I didn't see anything in the slide presentation about what is what is the balance of our foundation?
Overall, funds that we hold currently,
Yes,
we are right around 26 million.
okay. And of that 26 million, is any of that subject to being paid out from the fundraising that you're doing here? Or when you say the money's going for scholarships, is it going into the foundation holdings, and are we using the interest for scholarships? Or how does that work?
So we have, yes, we have two models when someone creates a scholarship. They can either endow it, so that's a minimum of $12,500. We invest that $12,500 in perpetuity, so for the lifetime of the college, and then we award 4% of a 36-month rolling average. So within that 26 million, there's a lot that is tied up in restricted gifts that will spin off that 4% each year. But we also have what we call annual scholarships. So let's say you come to me and you want to create an annual scholarship. You don't want to be locked into that endowment structure. That minimum is $1,100, and it's an in and an out. So we take it in, and then we award it the next year to a student. So there are some dollars that come in and pass straight through to the college year after year.
Can I have another question? Sure. I have two other questions, actually, Brittany. One is that the only thing the foundation holds in that, would you say 26 million?
Correct.
So none of that can be used for anything but scholarships?
No, there are funds that we can use for other purposes.
Okay. And the other question I have is, this is, I believe, our 60th year, which means 65 and 70 are coming up. And in some of the seminars I've been to at the American Community College Trustees organization, they have based large fundraising efforts in conjunction with an anniversary, and they suggest going at least 5 years out. And do you have the resources and staff to make that effort, or would you need more, or should and could the board consider hiring like experts to do that for us, or which, by the way, they don't recommend in these seminars. And is that something at least in discussion at the foundation? Does that make any sense?
It does, yes. So, for example, the 60th anniversary is when earlier this year is when we launched our CEO challenge, which we will continue. So we did try to do something fresh and new around an anniversary. We are continuing that this year because it was so successful. We can certainly look at, and I'm sure Dr. Spearman around the 63rd year will start talking to me about the 65th. At some point in the very near future, if it hasn't already happened, we are at capacity.
You are what?
We are at human capacity, but I feel like that's a conversation that I need to have with Dr. Spearman and with Ellen, VP Olson, to take on anything larger than what we're doing now. We would need additional staff.
Well, this is the right place to say that.
Yes, but I do believe we have the expertise to pull off large scale campaigns. It's just manpower.
Very good, thank you.
Bob, did you have anything else?
I was just going to comment on your 26 million. How much of it's restricted? How much is unrestricted?
I do not have that number.
I mean, that would help
the top
answer
of my
John's
head.
first question.
Correct.
It's the unrestricted that gets used for other things.
I would guess our operational unrestricted fund, it would probably be around 3 to 4 million out of the out of the 26 million.
So that's good round numbers. 4 out of 26 is unrestricted. 22 is restricted only for scholarships
Scholarships or programs.
or programs, right? Thank you.
The restriction just means the donor says you can't use this
Yeah,
how you
I
want,
understand.
you use this how I
Thank you.
want.
My comment is, one, I like the presentation going from historic up to current, and then, you know, your future vision. So thank you very much for that type of presentation. Plus, it was very nice to see, you know, the numbers going up, and I'm excited about the numbers you are showing, that where you are at already for downtown, where you expect to go, and the turf funding opportunity for athletic scholarships. And I appreciate the fact that you're probably at full load right now, but even with additional staff, I mean, you're already putting money, you're raising money for downtown, you're raising money for different scholarships, some which were restricted, some for athletic, which will be somewhat restricted then. So I don't know what the bang for the buck would be for additional staff to turn them into, unless you can get somebody that specializes in convincing people, don't put restrictions on it. But that would be a trait. That would be a skill. So, but thank you very much. It was a great presentation. It was a great update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Student Education Quarterly Update.
Good evening, trustees.
Hello.
And good to see you. Thanks for your time today. And just as a refresher, you want me running the show? Just as a refresher, my name's Julie Kunselman. I think I've met most of you. Trustee Goldsmith might not have seen you in person, so it's nice to see you. The work that we do is grounded in the strategic plan. As a reminder, we are working with I want to call her doctor because I'm trying to get her into a PhD program, VP Snyder, and looking at it, reviewing and updating this year. So just a reminder of our overall goal of our work together, and then also place the priorities in here for, again, just a reminder. And also wanted to mention the focus for the first quarter update, and I had an opportunity to talk with the chair about a month ago for about an hour on the telephone, 45 minutes an hour, just to kind of give an update. And he made some suggestions, which I appreciate, and we'll talk about today in the report. Our focus has really been around people in this first quarter. So when we look at the employee culture survey, we've administered it, closed it about 2 weeks ago. In your packets, we shared some of those results, but as you know, we really wait till the spring to roll that out more institutional wide. We've started the Leader Development Institutes for this year. Had a great opportunity to engage around the results, to roll those out with the team, fresh off the presses about a week later. So that was nice to be able to begin the conversation of what improvement looks like, even though we've seen improvement year over year in the administration of the survey. The other piece, and this is the one that Chair Gorski asked me to really speak to, is the practice of billing high reliability performance across all levels of leadership. So we discussed an opportunity that's really created with our student education partners in higher education. And what this really involves is leaders across all levels of all institutional partners being able to engage on a monthly virtual kind of like, it's a lunch and learn, but not a lunch and learn, because some of the groups in the sessions are at 8 in the morning. Yeah, Central Time. So, but what it does is it provides all of our leaders across all institutions an opportunity to engage with one another. And I use leaders because it's not only VPs that are involved in this, but we've also encouraged leadership teams to look for those folks who may not be identified yet as supervisors or leaders and be able to tap them to participate. So it gives folks who may be emerging leaders an opportunity to engage as well in this. And we kicked it off last week with the first group of leaders. We had several folks from Rock Valley in that, in both sessions, and just initial feedback, we've sent it out today, was very positive. And so the structure of that is an opportunity to, one, hear about a 10-minute with Q&A conversation with an executive leader. So Dr. Spearman will be tapped at some point to present to that entire group and do a Q&A with those in attendance. And then the majority of the time, about 20 minutes, is spent with the leaders randomly in small groups of 4 with probing questions to give them, or questions to give them an opportunity to talk with one another and discuss, this is what it looks like for me, or this is how we do it, and just really learn from one another in that process. So then we come back together and have report out. So that bullet really about building the high reliability performance is something that we've really focused on this year across all of our partners. And I'm excited that RVC has participated, and again, several layers of leaders participating in that. And so this is really what that looks like in terms of saying in our Q1 update, and the work that we're doing is really to invest in our employees and in leaders. And so the focus has been developing leaders to develop people, and then building consistency of leadership practices. And we've really focused on that building consistency of leadership practices over time, and now even more intentional about what it looks like to cascade those conversations to other folks. So you see those as goals. When we think about how this relates to our strategic plan, it's really couched or grounded in the training and culture pillars. And so, is the work that we're doing working? So these are, again, hot off the presses. It's about 2 weeks in. So what you see here, and I'm starting out of order to presenting the lowest items from this year's survey, but I wanted to present the lowest items. There's a footnote in here that this we're not including the board items as we did last time. We're not including the board items among the lowest if there were some. So we'll roll those out. With you all in the college in the spring. I will say that the overall increase in the board items is positive. We had a 0.15 increase in board items. The 3 lowest items of the board from 2023 also increased between 0.09 and 0.30. So really awesome to see that. When we look at these lowest items, all of these items increased from 23 to 25. And when comparing with the 2023 items, 3 items came off the list completely. I feel respected by the cabinet, went from 2.91 to 3.14. I feel a sense of belonging at the college, went from 2.90 to 3.24. And one that really sums up, if you will, this work of helping every person see their value at the institution is the item, I feel my work is valued by the college, which went from 2.88 to 3.17. So all between about a quarter point to a third of a point increase, which is pretty spectacular and a testament to you all sitting around this table and those of you in the crowd that are employees. The item with the lowest mean is around professional development, as you see, still at a 2.88. The only item that remains below a 3 on a 4-point scale, but it increased by 0.21 points from a 2.67 to 2.88. And I think importantly, the cabinet items. So we've been really focused on the leadership of Dr. Spearman, really building capacity of all leaders and working with the cabinet as well. Much of their action planning from the 2023 survey, when we talk about the cabinet, was around communication items. And those communication items increased by almost a half point. So if you look at cabinet communicates with me the way that I want, increased by almost a half point, 0.45, and cabinet does a good job of keeping me informed, increased by 0.43. So pretty outstanding to think about that. When we look at the scorecard items that we've VP Snyder and the team included on the scorecard, we also saw increases, pretty significant ones. So I confused myself a little bit as I looked at this, but the increase of 0.19 is this increase right here. So from 2022 to 2024 or 2023, and then the increase from 2024 to 2025 is that 0.23. So we've continued to see a really nice increase around this item. I would recommend RVC as a good place to work. That's pretty darn cool. So that's probably not a very professional way to say that, but it's pretty outstanding. This second one under our cultural excellence, it's the item, I trust in leadership. And we started at a 2.79. We moved 0.21 points to a 3.0 in 2023 administration. We're now up another quarter point to 3.28. Again, pretty outstanding movement when you think about where we started and really the work of this cabinet to focus on communication and engaging their people. So the other part of the Q1 update of the investment in employees and leaders is this idea of aligned goals, aligned behaviors, and aligned processes. Again, it reinforces that cascading of communication, but our number one outcomes on these is one, that employees understand why decisions are made, and two, every single employee knows how what they do every day matters and how it impacts the institution. So when we look at that, all of those are grounded or nested in the strategic plan, every single strategic plan pillar. And so I'm going to talk about the highest items from that lens. We have a couple new highest items related to, and again, this goes back to what folks worked on in their action plan: communication, impact, belonging, and satisfaction, understanding how my work impacts, again, impact, belonging, satisfaction, leadership in terms of autonomy, and then overall satisfaction in the ENPS score, willingness to recommend. So the new items include, I have good interpersonal communication, I enjoy working at RVC. Those are brand new. They didn't show up in the last administration. Both increases of about 1/10 of a point, 0.11. The cabinet supports the needs of our students. New item, went from a 3.27 to the 3.44 that you see there, an increase of 0.17. Understand how my work impacts the success of the institution. Again, this was one of those two outcomes that I had mentioned, and that increased from 3.48 to 3.54. And then the top item about the autonomy and independence to do my job. Really exciting to see that, because that's all level, that's the immediate supervisor. So for us, that's all levels of leadership that feeds into that, which is pretty cool, and that's an increase of 0.10. So the EMP, so here's the overall changes, and again, I'm excited to talk more about this with you when we come back for the next quarterly update, but wanted to go ahead and share this. So we see great increases in cabinet leadership that impact belonging satisfaction. How what I do every day makes an impact on the institution. Even though we're still lower in professional development, overall we've gone above the 3 in that. A testament to the good work. Justin, one of our new employees in HR, really gravitated and grabbed hold of the emerging leader opportunity and leadership opportunity with other partners, and really, and I think I brought 20 books up to pass out to folks to participate. So really exciting to see that movement there. And then again, communication, just outstanding increases when you look at that. So the Net Promoter Score is something that we use to be able to really benchmark across any field professionally. And what oftentimes happens, and if we look at last year's scores, I know you all probably don't have them in your brains like I do somewhat, but the employees told us that they would recommend their immediate work environment at a much higher rate than they would recommend RVC overall. And what happened this time is not a decrease in the other. We still saw a little bit of an increase, but what happened is we saw the overall ENPS for the college almost increase threefold. So we went from about 6.75 to 18.15. That's pretty outstanding in terms of that metric. As we as I look at other institutions, don't often see that kind of movement. So it's again a testament to the great work and commitment of your leaders around the table. And that's all I have for you all tonight. Do you have any questions?
I'm going to start down here. Nope, I guess not. I want to move to Kristen. John, Bob.
On your previous chart, Board of Trustees, what is in that? What does that mean?
Yeah, so the Board of Trustee items, there are 7 items that we included in the Board of Trustees items. I believe this was added last year. I might tag team with VP Snyder. We added it in the 2023 administration to provide feedback for the first time. It's the items, I can read them to you. It's support the values of RVC, supports the mission, supports the strategic direction is the third one, supports cabinet leaders, makes decision that supports the best interests of the college, makes decisions that support the growth of the college, and the last item is represents RVC well in the communities we serve. All of those significantly increased with those three that I mentioned, having really nice increases overall, so,
Thank you.
yep.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Well, first of all, I'm not supposed to represent, I mean, I'm not out there, I promote the college and the like, but my popularity of promoting the college, I'm not here for that. We're here for policy and fiduciary, and since we set the strategic plan, if they don't agree with it, they should work through their administration and tell us about it. So, I guess I was hoping more on the strategic plan than I was on surveys. So I would ask at the next quarterly to focus on the strategic plan.
Sure.
And how you're working, and that'll dovetail well because it'll be coming at in January, the January timeframe.
Okay.
So, again, the board's responsibility for policy and fiduciary, we appreciate the update on the mood and the employee experience on there. We like to keep forward with policies and financial plans that would keep everybody, not everybody, because you're always going to have dissenters, but, majority of staff happy with their work here and moving forward with the educational mission of the institution. But I'd like to see that wrap more up into a strategic plan and how we're going to keep that going in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, especially knowing that nationwide there's a kind of a decrease in the core population of students coming through high schools and the like, feeding into early stuff, and then even going into their mid-20s and early 30s. So, Gloria, do you have a?
Yes, just a quick one. For the employee survey, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being the best, where do we kind of fall in compared to last time?
Compared to last time, definitely an increase, and so we're probably, if we're comparing it to other institutions that we work with, they're still one of the top 3. So, but in terms of the increase overall for you all, I'd say a 10. If we could go higher than a 10, I'd say that. It was a pretty significant, this is a significant increase. When we see 3 times this number, that's really significant. So.
And I would just like to add, in terms of, you're talking about, how we would rank and the like, but in terms of the employee experience survey, in the kind of the coaching and the training to make the employees more, comfortable, but how is that, can you, in the future, not asking for right now, to turn that into how it might relate to educational outcomes improving for students here? Because ultimately, that's what we're here for.
Sure.
So.
That's a good point.
Sure will.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Isaiah?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, Isaiah.
I was a bit concerned about what I was seeing in terms of the employees being overworked and them lacking development. In terms of how many people that you surveyed for that, how many people overall did you survey?
Yeah, great question. So we survey the entire population of employees. So we have all full-time employees, and we had a 68.5% response rate. So that's about 276 full-time employees out of 403 that responded.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no suggestions in terms of how to improve that you've developed?
There is, and we work on this. It's so, we spent a lot of time actually, was it last week? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, Trustee Blake spent a lot of time talking about what this item may even mean in terms of the opportunity to advance in other roles.
Yeah.
And how they're great examples of that now, but what does that look like for us as leaders in terms of how we offer opportunities for folks to develop their skills potentially in other areas?
Okay.
So absolutely still chipping away at that, right? But this item in and of itself increased by, from almost a quarter point. So it was at 2.64 and now it's at 2.88. So we're working on it, right? And just chipping away at that. But the intentional conversations that happen with the rollout process, where folks then, these leaders will take it to their teams and say, let's talk about what this means, right? What does it mean for you in your professional development? And that's how we'll continue to move those up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
A follow-up to that, in terms of, I'm going to preface this, as politicians, we don't always understand what motivates people to participate in elections, whether consolidated primary, low turnout, 18%, 7%, or 68%. So why do you think, in that one reference you mentioned, would almost a third of the people not respond to a survey?
To the so why
Yeah.
did a third not respond?
Almost, not quite.
Yeah, not quite a third. There could be a few different reasons. One is they just think that what they say doesn't matter, right? Even though it's evident that the leaders have rolled out the results to the teams and had conversations about them, right? Because we wouldn't see this increase or participation if we wouldn't have done that last time. So it could be that. It could be that they were just swamped and said, I'm going to get back to it, I'm going to get back to it, I'm going to get back to it, and never did. But we leave that survey open. This time we left it open for 3 weeks to make sure that we had better participation and participation in it. But that's a great question. It's one that we need to ask people, quite frankly, why, what's getting in the way of you participating? What do we need to do differently? And we can do that during the rollout process.
And I don't think it's just people that just don't believe that it doesn't make a difference. It might be that they may need a little bit more motivation, showing that your participation in the survey will actually help effect change here. So the more people that participate, the better a chance you have for effecting change. So I don't know how you get that message out, but.
Do you know what the previous participation rate was?
Yes, sir. It was a little bit higher. I think we were at 77%, so about 10% higher last time.
Wrong trend.
So
Well, how often are the surveys done?
every 2 years.
Okay, all right.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
All right. Teaching and learning communications discussion, board liaison, trustee Goldsmith.
VP Snyder. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
I have a bit of a different enrollment update for you tonight than what we're used to because I'm reporting the 14th day census enrollment and a bit of our student profile. The 14th day census enrollment is important. It's a snapshot in time that we report to the Illinois Community College Board. So if you see any press releases by ICCB, sometimes they come through the ICTA communications. This is the information you will receive. So this includes a bit more than what we usually have in our enrollment updates each month because it includes some adult education registrations and some vocational skills that are outside of our credit programming. So I just like to say that up front, so if there's any differences in the numbers, that's why that is, and that's per ICCB's rules. But we have some good news to report. Our census day enrollment has increased by 9.5% over the last 5 years. And that is a just under 1% increase from fall 24 to fall 25. That's for head count. Our credit hour enrollment has increased by 1.72% over the last 5 years, and that's a 1.61 increase from the previous year, fall 2024. Our headcount enrollment continues to increase at a slower rate than our credit hour enrollment, which just indicates that we have fewer students taking more credits. So or other way around. We have more students taking fewer credits, so more part-time students. If there aren't any questions about that brief report, I'm going to move on to the student profile. And I'm just going to go over the quick facts page. This is a lengthy report, so we're just going to keep it to the quick facts. Now, this report does align with our credit enrollments. So these are students enrolled in programs that are for college credit. So we have this fall, as of the official reporting date, 5,925 students enrolled in 4 credit programs. The average age of our student is consistent at about 23 years. It has been pretty consistent over the last 5 years. We continue to enroll more women than men, with women making up 56% of our student body. Our minority enrollment has increased substantially over the last 5 years, from 39% in fall of 21 to 45% in the fall of 25, largely due to an increase in our Hispanic population. Our first-time student enrollment has decreased slightly over the last 5 years. A first-time student is defined as someone who has never enrolled in college before, either at Rock Valley College or elsewhere. I suspect this number decreases because if you're a high school student, you don't get counted as first time until you complete high school. So as we increase things like Running Start, those students are really never counted as a first time student until they finish, but they might not come back here. They might finish and go somewhere else. So that might be part of that trend. Again, this bottom chart is showing that we have more full-time students than part-time students, and that percentage is increasing. I'm just going to point out 2 other things that are later in the report. About 22% of our students have identified themselves as being in a career technical education program this fall, and about 17% of our students are currently also enrolled in high school. So that could be through a dual credit program or a dual enrollment opportunity. Are there any questions?
Do you have the, I don't think it's in this report, but it would be interesting to see the trend of graduations, number of students actually graduating.
Are you asking for the number or the graduation rate? The number of students completing?
The rate of graduation and the number of students. I mean, to me, the trend of first-time enrollment dropping from 24 to 21, to me, is a little bit disturbing. We got more part-timers, okay, that's fine, but you would want to see, the first-timers increasing too. Although that would be bucking the trend of.
Yeah, I feel like
fewer
that
young
might be
people
hard
coming in.
with fewer high school graduates. As we look at adult students, they might be coming back to college. So say
Yeah.
they took a few credits here and there somewhere.
Here and there.
They're not first time. But we can look at the completions number.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
And that speaks to what your discussion there, what I've been saying for months or a year and a half. What are our plans to go after those populations, those age groups or groups of people, demographics of people that maybe we haven't brought in as many, but we know there's a pool of people there that we can, bring in. You said the age hasn't stayed, it stayed pretty much the same, whatever. What about older people coming, realizing, hey, we can make more money if I just give a certificate or whatever, even on a part-time basis, because I realize somebody maybe a little older in life has got other stuff going on, family, jobs, maybe 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs, and then juggling that with some classwork is going to be tough. So, and I appreciate if she's still here, the foundation pitching in for those people who have emergency services, those 50 folks that needed help in a bind. because sometimes we all need a little helping hand. So in that regard, and I'm not asking for an answer for it, I mean, it's kind of speaks to the strategic plan going forward in the, January timeframe, so.
And we'll address it a little bit in a couple presentations later tonight with our adult.
Okay, adult learner, yeah.
Yeah, with
yep.
that one.
That's why
Yeah.
I checked it, it's a summary, yeah. Thank you.
And with the age, just quickly, I think it's staying the same. We may be getting more adult students, but we're also getting more high school students that are 17, 18.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know that it's like one or the other thing causing that. It's probably a combination.
Okay, good point.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Kind of, sort of. So do you feel like the decrease, because I'm with Bob, I think it's a little disturbing, but do you feel like maybe the decrease is because now you see a lot more kids going off to trade schools, or like not wanting to come here until later on as the adults? Is that what we're seeing?
I think that's possible. Dr. Pyre's looking at me like he wants to address that question.
You don't want to address that? This is, the problem we've been presented tonight is that we've got more money in scholarships than we ever had before, and we've got fewer people kind of, coming in.
Yeah.
I think there may be a couple of things at play, and Heather's spoken to them a little bit already, and I don't want to double dip on her response, but certainly the number of students taking dual credit
Okay.
changes how they're reported in our first-time enrollment numbers. I think that's a true piece of this.
Okay.
Because if they're coming to us with 3, 6, 9, 12 credits earned before they completed high school, are they considered a first-time student with us?
Once they've completed high school,
Once
yes,
they've
but
completed, yes, but
not
not-
while they're still in high school.
So that may change the number a little bit. We are still working, and to your point, Trustee Gorski, we are working to get more adult students into the pipeline, and that skews that first time or two, because most of those adult students are coming to us having tried college somewhere at least once. When they come to us, they come with credits in hand. That didn't get them very far because they didn't go very far. So I think there's a piece of that in that
Okay.
as well.
In limbo, it's a limbo.
Correct.
In limbo. Okay.
And the trend is nationally,
Sure.
people are staying away from higher education or doing it differently. And finding apprenticeships, and finding vocational trainings.
Right.
And finding career technical opportunities that may or not be tethered to a credit program.
And then they eventually come back as an adult.
And then they
because
might eventually
finished.
come back
Okay.
to us down the road.
That makes
And they're
sense.
and they're no longer first-time students when
Gotcha.
they do that.
Okay.
Also, to your point, we do offer scholarships to certificate recipients here at ATC, for example. The scholarships don't always go for credit hours. Number two is that the CT&E number is 22%. For a long, long time, it was 20%. So there is a movement towards CT&E. Slight, but it's moving in the right direction.
In the right direction, right.
And to Trustee Trozen's point that he just made, when students come here and take those non-credit programs, they may not then enroll in credit programs. And
Right.
we would never count them as
And that doesn't
first-time
count in
students either, correct?
Okay.
So, sorry, I just want to clarify. You're talking about degree path versus certificate path? Or you call
Credit,
it, or
certificate,
you
there-
call
there-
them credit, non-credit?
Correct, non-credit credit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
so non-credit, you can have workforce development, and non-credit, there's credentialing. And then on the credit side, you can have the certificates that can be stackable that leads up to an associate's degree.
Okay.
What we're looking at is developing workforce development metrics, adult education metrics that we can measure and see if we can still grow, and then develop that pipeline and see how many of them are completing and then enrolling in RVC as well. So that's part of the strategy, but we'll talk about that more. Patrick will do a little sprinkle tonight, but we'll talk a little bit more
Sorry,
about that in
Patrick.
January.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are we up with a lobbyist update?
Yes. Nope.
No, were we still doing early college enrollment? Okay.
All right, good evening, trustees. It's typical around this time to present an account of early college operations. So this evening, I will provide firstly an account of early college in terms of how Rock Valley College engages with school districts to market and promote existing programs, and how we encourage school districts to utilize new early college programs. 2, we will look at demographic data and report what student profiles look like for various early college programs. 3, we will take a look at enrollment numbers for programs such as dual credit at the high schools, Running Start, dual credit at Rock Valley College, and Career Pathways Jumpstart. And 4, we will look at how RVC continues to build a pipeline of interest into the career technical educational sphere via the vehicle of Smart Camp. This evening, I will only provide highlights. Firstly, I will delve into how RVC engages with school districts to either initially engage them into early college programs, or how we engage with existing school districts and schools to re-engage them in existing agreements, or how to entice them into new early college options. This evening, you will see several existing school districts embark upon new early college options for the 2026-2027 school year. This is all testament to the hard work of the Dean of Early College, Dr. Cindy Topin, and members of her team. So I'll start off first, so I'll kick this off by talking about how the recruitment is done and how the engagement is done. So around this time, the Dean of Early College and the staff members, they engage with school districts to look at what current arrangements they have and if they're interested in re-engaging in those agreements or not. They'll also show them other early college options, and tonight I'll present some new options for 5 school districts that are taking on new options, and they'll go through that. Now, within those conversations, I also wanted to lay the foundation down because Trustee Trojan asked a good question at the September 9th Committee of the Whole. He asked about the disparities in numbers, in enrollment numbers between different school districts. And that's because for a number of reasons. Every school district is different. When they embark upon early college options, they think about financial restraints, how much money they have, how much money they could spend. They also have to think about if they're doing early college at the high school, what are the qualifications of their high school instructors to be able to teach college classes. So that's another big reason for disparities, because some school districts have more qualified people who could teach college classes than others, than other school districts. Then there's the students' interest too as well, which is also important because students have to be interested in the various programs, so that will affect enrollment into various early college programs. So all this stuff is done now in the fall semester. Then in the spring semester, we regroup with the school districts, and that's where we get the early college agreements being formed. And then I bring that to you starting in May, June, July, August. I bring those agreements to you, all right? I'll now pivot to the student profile. And we'll take a look at all the early college programs, all the early college credit-bearing programs, and take a look at the demographic outlook. So we have in all programs, 55.8% of the students identify as white, 39.3% identify as a race other than white, and 5% did not report a race at all. In terms of gender, we have 54.5% identifying as female, 42.7% identifying as male, and 3% of the persons did not report a gender. That's for all programs that bear credit with early college. Now I'll go a little granular, and I'm going to go into early college, dual credit at the high schools. So these are the college programs that operate at the high schools. We're going to take a demographic look at that. So we have 53.9% are white, 23.6% are Hispanic or Latino, 7.7% are black, 3.8% are Asian, 5.7% of the students identify as 2 or more races, and 4.5% of the students did not report anything whatsoever. This is for dual credit at the high schools. I'll now take a look at Running Start, the Running Start student profiles now. So for Running Start, for all the programs we have 61.9% identify as white, 22.8% identify as Hispanic, 2.5% identify as Black or African American, 5% identify as Asian, 4% identify as two or more races, and 3.6% did not report anything whatsoever. So that concludes all the look at student profiles. Are there anybody with questions about for the different programs? Okay. I'll now pivot to dual credit at the high schools. So this is where, as I said, we teach college classes at the high schools, and qualified high school teachers actually teach these classes. We are very fortunate. We have 14 high school partnerships that exist. So 14 different school districts use dual credit at the high school. They are Belvedere, Boylan, Byron, Harlem, Hononegah, Keith Country Day, North Boone, Meridian, Pecatonica, Rockford Christian, RPS 205, South Beloit, and Winnebago. And in terms of the unduplicated headcount for the last couple of years, it has steadily risen. So in FY22, we had 854 students. In FY23, we had 1,136 students. In FY24, we had 1,167 students. And in FY25, we have 1,693 students. Now, interestingly, when we compare the fall numbers over the last 3 years at this juncture, there has also been a steady rise. So if we look back at fall 2023, we had 351 students at this time. In fall 2024, which was last year, we had 573. And now this year, in fall 2025, we have 684 students. So you notice a steady increase over the last 3 years at this same time too as well, in addition to the numbers increasing. I will now look at Running Start. So for Running Start, we have 9 school districts participating, and they are Belvedere, Byron, Durand, Harlem, North Boone, Pecatonica, RPS 205, South Beloit, and Winnebago. And collectively, the number of Running Start students is now 220 students in 2025 to 2026. Last year, we were at 206, so it was slightly less last year. This year is definitely more. I want to take a look at dual credit on the campus. So those are students who decide to come to RVC to do their early college. So for FY23, the number was at 295. In FY24, it was at 271. In FY25, it was at 220. And in FY26, 177. You will notice a steady decrease in the numbers. And the reason for that is because, when you think about students have more options at their high schools, students in some school districts don't have to pay for early college at their high schools because the school districts pay for it. In some school districts, they let the students pay, but it's a kind of nominal fee. It's like $50. So when you compare that to a student who decides to come to us directly to do early college, and they're paying full tuition, we could understand why the numbers have steadily declined and continue to decline. And the numbers with the dual credit at the high schools have steadily increased. It's an obvious increase. Now, the good news this afternoon is, as I mentioned at the beginning in my opening, is that in these conversations the Early College Office has had with 5 school districts, I am very, very pleased to announce that 5 school districts have decided to take the Career Pathways Jumpstart Agreement or program. And these school districts are Belvedere, Byron, North Boone, Pecatonica, and Winnebago. And what Career Pathways Jumpstart is, just to refresh your memory, that's where students earn a certificate at RVC in either automotive, aviation maintenance, manufacturing, mechatronics, or welding. So they get a certificate. So they could finish the certificate, with the exception of aviation, And when they finish, they could come onto the main campus to continue the degree if they so wish or so desire.
Schools again? What districts?
The schools are Belvedere, Byron, North Boone, Pecatonica, and Winnebago. Belvedere, Byron, North Boone, Pecatonica, Winnebago.
But your slide only shows 2.
Yes.
Yeah, the slide only shows 2, but thank you for expanding the
Yeah,
list. And am I understand this correctly, with the exception of aviation maintenance, that when they leave, when they're complete, they have a certificate?
Yes.
Which makes them employable in all of those
Yes,
fields?
yes, they do, yes. That's because the aviation is a bit longer. I think,
Right.
you know what happened, Trustee Trojan? When I did this, the other agreements came in after.
Yeah.
But this was done before.
What?
What impact do you think the new District 205 Career Academy, which is about to open, will have an impact on this? Do you think they will not come, or do you think they'll come
We
anyway?
still have to have discussions with them because we need to figure out, just like we do with industry partners, we need to figure out what they are offering and see if we could offer an advance to whatever it is they are offering.
Advance to what they're offering?
Yeah, so that's what we do with industry, so
Good.
we do that too as well.
I get the distinct impression he was being very diplomatic and not calling that out when he was saying the decrease in certain things caused by a variety of causes. Thank you for being diplomatic. We won't be. Thank you for being diplomatic. So.
And another high point for me to end on this afternoon is talking about the Summer Manufacturing and Readiness Technology Camp, SMART Camp. So as you know, we have had overwhelming demand for SMART Camp. I mean, this past summer, there were 189 applicants with only 60 spots. So what we intend to do, and I know Trustee Isaiah Blake and Trustee Trojan were very passionate about this, so the team brainstormed and we came up with deciding that we'll move from 4 full-day sessions to 8 half-a-day sessions for students. Because even though the students, we said it was full day, really wasn't a full day. They would come about 9 and leave about 1 or 2 o'clock, so it wouldn't matter. So this way, what we'll be able to do is, instead of serving 15 students per week, we'll be able to serve 30 students per week. And it being for 4 weeks, we'll be able to serve 120 students at the end of summer 2026, instead of just serving 60 students. So I think that should make everybody happy. And I mean, if you look at the summer numbers from 2023, we had 35. In summer 2024, 43. This year we had 55, and hopefully for summer 2026, we hope to have 120. You know, so.
Program.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you, Trustee Blake and Trojan, for your passion.
I have one other question. And I know you don't have any data here, but just listening to, especially Brittany on the engineering scholarship awards, I would be interested in knowing how many students and what the trend has been that are enrolling in the engineering program, particularly the one where they could build on with NIU. My concern would be, and I have nothing to go by other than my gut, says that if that enrollment is dropping, would NIU consider walking away from the program? So the challenge is, what's the trend of students enrolling in that program? And hopefully it's a good trend, not a bad trend.
Okay.
So maybe
Isn't
it's
that
some.
the Rockford Promise?
Yeah, right.
Pardon me?
Isn't that the Rockford Promise stuff?
No, it's the NIU engineering program where the student can take 2 years here and then right here finish up with NIU to get an engineering degree from NIU for a grand total of $40,000 a year. At least that's the way it was.
You're still correct, but the Rockford Promise program is now connected to that as well. So students can go through Rockford Promise, start with RVC, finish in 2 years, and then still use the Rockford Promise scholarship to stay here, but take that third and fourth year at NIU. So it's
At NIU.
at NIU,
Not here.
Right.
here, but a bachelor's degree from NIU. Still much cheaper because they don't pay for anything, but they don't have to leave at all and they can still use the Rockford Promise
With
Scholarship.
the Rockford Promise money
Yes,
here on this campus.
on this campus.
So that's the number that I would like to see is,
So, yeah, a report for.
what's that
future
look like?
meeting then,
Engineering?
right? Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for that.
All right, just want to say thanks to all the trustees for your continued support, and just know that next year we'll have a whole lot more agreements to sign.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you.
All right, unless somebody has an objection, I'd like to skip lobbyist update and go to the strategic plan goals update, and then come back to the lobbyist, all right? Sure. Okay?
All right, so we'll go to the strategic plan update. Dr. Pyer and I are co-presenting on this one and talking about our efforts towards adult learners. A little bit of background, so why are we here talking about adult learner strategies? We've already talked tonight even about the declining population of high school graduates. That's not news. We've talked in the past about the low educational attainment in the Rockford region for adults, and all of this has led us to believe that we should be putting efforts towards recruiting and retaining adult learners. I also want to remind you that this includes our adult education population, but also adults who have not been engaged with us at all. And Dr. Smith shared with us a few meetings ago about the new direction with adult education and creating pathways and being more intentional with that. So that puts this all into context. We are currently creating dashboards that allow us to track enrollment in these programs, adult education programs. I'm not suggesting that we never knew how many students were in there, but it was kind of an, we'd look at it after the fact. This is how many students finished this level, et cetera, et cetera. And we're working towards looking at it more proactively. The dashboard information that's shared in this report is actually a real-time thing, so any day we can go in and look at how many students are in each of these different levels of adult education, so we can anticipate who should be transitioning to a workforce training program or a credit program. By looking at the data, we've started to look at some of those transitions. We still have some work to do. What we know now is that our adult education students take a variety of paths. Some are co-enrolled in both adult education and credit programs in our ICAPS programming. We have some that will finish adult ed and take more adult ed, or they'll take adult ed and go into a credit program or a workforce training program, maybe not right away. We know that some of them go directly into the workforce, so we're getting a better handle on that. What we need to start understanding, what we're working towards, is who should be completing a level at this point so that they're ready for the next transition, so we can start to make predictions about how many will be enrolling into credit programs or non-credit training. So the work continues, but we have made some progress in that, the data on that. Unless there are any questions about that piece of it, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Pyer to talk about some of the strategies we're employing to reach out and recruit adult learners.
At this point. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Continuing on here, we're about halfway through this executive summary. So we've been working with various departments around the campus over the last year and going on 2 years in some areas to be more, again, intentional and understanding the adult education students, the adult learners in our communities, and trying to serve them as best we can. And you'll see all that information in the rest of the slides. We won't go through all of them, but we can certainly answer questions if you have them as you look through the rest of the packet. So information about the pathways that Heather just spoke to. We have some new website pages. There are some samples in the presentation that you can look at. And at any point in time, we could help you kind of navigate to some of those pages on our website if you're looking for a little bit more time in those areas. We are certainly looking to attract more of our adult learners in our community. We are trying to find them in various ways, reach out to them in various ways. But let me start quickly with the adult education. You can stay here. I'll just highlight them, and again, they're in your packet. In the adult education area and in that department, we have added that team to the Salesforce CRM tool that I know you all are very well aware of. They've been including that process over this past 6 months, and they are now able to track their applications more efficiently. Our communication with those students are more efficient, and we're much more aware of how we can track and monitor their appointments and how we can serve them better moving forward. We've also been improving our outreach and communication to those students to try to meet them where they are. We have defined pathways on our website for those students that I'll get to here in a few minutes. Our enrollment in the downtown space, since December of 2023, we've had a staff member from our enrollment office going down there weekly to meet with every level of the GED program students, the adult education program students at all levels, including ESL, and going into those classrooms as often as we are able, sometimes every semester, sometimes every month, and providing presentations about Rock Valley College at the level of where they're looking for the information. If they're brand new to the adult ed program and their adult basic education, they don't want the details of every program that we offer. They don't want every course that we offer. They want a very high level look at what does Rock Valley College offer from a grand kind of perspective. We have credit programs, we have degree programs, we have non-credit and credit programs from a very high level. Our campus locations, how to find us, those kinds of information. As they could progress through the adult education layers, they get into the adult secondary education level. Now we're going to talk about the application process, how can they access financial aid, a little more detail about career programs and technical programs and transfer programs, and we start to lay out all those options for them. Again, we kind of bring that information to them when they're ready for it. With that person being on site, then they also get to meet with students privately and talk one-on-one about their individual goals. Again, are they going to look for completion then into a credit program, completion then maybe into a career program or a workforce development program, community education program, or into the workforce? And we try to help them with those transitions. All the while, the message is, when you're ready, if that's right when you're done or in 2 or 3 years or 5 years down the road, this is how you can find us. We've also been, over the last 18 months, inviting them to come to the main campus, to see the campus, tour the campus, get to know the campus, and provide information also about the ACEC, the ATC as well. So they are aware of all of their options in our region that we can support them through their educational programs. We provide them the information on the non-credit and the credit. Financial aid and scholarship presentations are provided to them. And then we provide that transition support. So if they're beginning their transition from the adult basic education program to adult secondary education to a credit program, we make sure that they have a contact person on the main campus when they're transitioning from the downtown campus to maybe the main campus for a transfer program in engineering, for example. We would provide that transition support. On our marketing side, they've been spending a lot of time and resource lately highlighting our adult education students in our Bridges magazine and doing student spotlights, again, to try to emphasize and highlight the good work that's being done in those areas. Questions about the adult education side?
Questions?
Okay. Let me spend just a couple minutes then on the adult learner transitions that we've been trying to support. Again, in the Salesforce tool that we've been using now for going on 3 years, we're much more able to specifically highlight and find those students that are looking at Rock Valley College, because we have ways in that system to identify if they're 25 or older. So if you're not already aware, what we identify as an adult learner is somebody who's 25 or older. We don't cap it, but practically speaking, we kind of look at those that are like 45 to 50. Once you get that over 50 crowd, they're not necessarily looking for degree completion per se, maybe not even certificate completion, maybe more career exploration or personal growth. So that kind of 25, 45, 50, that's kind of the adult learner that I see. And I know officially we look at 25 plus. So that's what we kind of categorize as the adult learner in our reporting. So certainly in our Salesforce tool, we can identify them as 25 and older and customize our messaging to them. Our website has specific request for information pages. So every page of our website that has like a career program or a degree program, there's a little button at the bottom. If they request more information and we get their name and their information, we can tether where they visited. We know exactly what page they were on, and we can customize the message to them based on the language that they're looking for. We're not talking about, hey, you just look like you just graduated from high school. No, we know they didn't just graduate from high school. And we, again, customize that message to meet their needs and to provide that level of support immediately. We certainly continue to do community outreach, going to events and partnerships with Goodwill, the new Excel Center, community events around the area regularly. We have regular attendance at many of the fairs and festivals and the other events that happen around us. We have grown tremendously in the last couple of years with our business partners. I know Dr. Stewart and his team have a great hand in that and developing those business and industry partnerships. And we leverage those relationships to, again, invite ourselves in when appropriate to go to their sites and talk to their employees. From the marketing side, I mentioned we've done a lot, and Jennifer Thompson and her team have been fantastic partners in improving and updating the website in the last couple of years, making these request for information pages available, building new career pathway models for our students. They go to most any page, they can find a pathway option for them from the adult ed to the credit program and beyond. They've also done some great things with creating new view books for CTE, and they've also created campaigns in Snapchat and other social media tools that target 25 and older. And then we've also held on campus Explore Nights for the adult population. So these are things that we do after 5 o'clock. Who knew? The adult students probably can't make it to campus between 9 and 3, so we try to do these things in the evening. We've been much more intentional in the last year to offer evening learner recognition nights and explore the campus nights. Let me think if there's anything else on the enrollment side. The website I mentioned, I think that's it for now. I will see if there's questions.
Before I
The
take
next steps.
questions, Joe, has this been attorney reviewed? I'm just saying that just to wake you up. You just seem to be dozing off now.
Joe's doing great.
Okay, very good. Question. Question.
John.
First.
So, where you hold the evening things that you discussed, and what times do you generally hold those?
Most recently, they've been held in the main campus in the Stenstrom Student Center in the atrium. That's the most accessible, one of the most accessible space. And they're usually between, start times are at usually 5 or 6 p.m.
Any follow-ups, Jen? No. Okay, Bob.
So do you have any trends of what kind of numbers? I mean,
They're
numbers,
small.
bodies or money?
Yeah,
Or
usually when we have, the last event we did was a few weeks ago, and I think we had about 20 arrivals. We had about
20
30 registered, 20 adult learners, quote unquote, came to the campus. So these are not big numbers coming to the campus, because lots of our adult learners aren't going to make it to campus quite often. They're going to visit with us on the phone, they're going to visit with us via email and communication, and lots of them are enrolling in online classes as well. But we offer those services to them, and we provide as much resource as we can for them.
So all of what you presented has to do with about 20 people?
No. That one event had about 20 people.
Oh, I'm talking
This is
about for
stuff.
the summation of a semester worth of adult learners. How many, what dollars, and what's the trend?
I don't have that number in front of me,
I know,
so
but
I can
I
certainly
would ask-
compile some of that information
Yeah.
for you in that regard.
I always like to see numbers and I like to see trends. Sorry.
We'll be able to break it down from age 25 to 45, because that's the population we said we will address.
Right.
And then you also be able to look at it from adult education population as well.
Yeah.
Right, those be the two main.
Will that meet your needs, Bob?
Yes, yeah.
That sounds like a good report to
Trends,
have.
especially trends.
Trends. Any other questions?
10 years I've been beating a horse about trends, right?
And I'd just like to
Beating
remind,
a lot of dead horses.
I'd like to remind the trustees, while they're not asking us to take any actions on
No, I know.
this,
No.
you do have the information in your packet, so I encourage you to review it. I appreciate you not going through all, 100, all the pages for it, and covering the highlights, but it is, we're beholden, it's not, we're supposed to review it. So if you have any questions, we'll bring them up, and, but if you could, follow up on that one, Isaiah.
I just have an overall question, Dr. Pyer.
Yeah.
What are the employment outcomes for people who do complete the adult education program? in
I
terms of
don't
the
have
pathways?
that number. I know I don't have. That's
Okay.
more Dr. Smith's area.
Okay.
Employment numbers, and I don't know that she would have that off the top of her head either.
Okay.
And, yeah.
That's a hard group to track. I will tell you that right now. But that, once they complete, within 6 months, typically we try to find out where they've found employment. It is a hard group to get them to kind of give us their updates.
That's one of the areas that we've been working on, seeing how we can best collect that data and accurately collect the data so that we can measure it year over year.
Okay.
Can't you use the health clinic to put a little chip in them and track them into it?
I've not been authorized to make that happen. I do want to just highlight, we do have a number of next steps. You can certainly read these on your own and in your pack, but if you have any questions, please certainly let us
Thank
know.
you. Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Dr.
it.
Carr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a lobbyist update to help us achieve all those goals.
All right, so we'll move on to the lobbyist update then. There isn't anything in your packet, but I did want to share that we had our kickoff meeting with Dr. Letisa Wallace and her team at Light Strategies on October 9th. Her team, Letisa's team, was there in addition to a team from Rock Valley, including Trustee Goldsmith as the trustee liaison. We identified 4 priorities for Dr. Wallace to work on to support our efforts with Downtown West, the community college baccalaureate degrees, to strengthen our relationships with key legislators, and to provide insights on key legislation and its impact on RVC as it develops. So those were the key priorities we identified with her and agreed upon. She will be providing us with regular updates, and then we will be communicating with the board at a regular cadence as well. We're just getting started, but if there's any questions, we'll try to answer them.
Sounds good. I think it's too early really but that sounds like 4 reasonable, goals, and they're not weighty. They're all kind of weighty, building relationships with people and stuff like that. And then kind of keeping track of legislation that would be important to us, and maybe heading off legislation that we would consider harmful to the educational mission or finances of the college. So thanks very much. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
And finance discussion, board liaison, trustee Cardenas.
Yes, we are so excited to have Ellen back.
Yay!
She's going to give us the best update ever.
I will do my best. So first up tonight, we have Purchase Report A, which is FY26 amendments. This is for Entree Computer Solutions, an increase of $122,135 for a total of $800,000. This is for additional computer equipment for the life cycle replacement project and the replacement of the devices that will not be supported under Windows 11. The college did purchase 535 desktop devices, and there is budget remaining for additional equipment. Entree has agreed to honor their proposal prices under RFP 25-04 until the end of October, and this increase will allow us to purchase an additional 202 desktop units. Are there any questions on this one?
Questions?
Very good. We'll move
Thank
on
you.
to the next one. Purchase Report B, FY26 purchases. First, we have an Atlas Toyota material handling for $44,083.12. This is for the purchase of a 2025 Toyota forklift for plant operations in the maintenance department. This equipment will replace a 1988 Clark forklift that is leaking oil. Bid 25-26 forklift received 2 responses that were opened on September 26th. Item B is for West Side Tractor Sales for $32,500. This is for the purchase of 2 Arctic sectional snow pushers to be used by plant operations and maintenance department. This is to replace 2 older, less efficient snow pushers, and this will be used for snow removal on the main campus. Bid 25-08 Arctic snow pushers received 2 responses, which were opened on September 26th. Item C. This is for janitorial services. I know we have been asked to review the bids on this, but I am going to read what the current proposal is. And it is for EBM for $615,937.41. This is for the janitorial services for main campus, Health Services Center, Bell School Road, Advanced Technology Center, and Aviation. This bid did receive 17 responses that were opened on August 22nd. And upon the initial review, EBM was identified as the lowest responsible bidder with no additional cost for weekend or special events or emergency events. And this would be the first year of a 3-year contract with 5 possible 1-year renewals. And again, we will review that they're calculated all the same.
Also for legal review to make sure that it's everything from start to finish is consistent with bidding, our policies, state policies, everything legal, and then, right? Thank you.
Item D is for Hartwig Mechanical for $222,000. This is for our unit bidder contract for preventative maintenance, mechanical services, and hourly repairs in accordance with the terms and conditions that were outlined in RFP 25-13, mechanical services. This RFP did cover a broad scope of the heating and cooling of the college's buildings, broken down into 3 packages. We did receive 12 proposals across the different packages, and that they were opened on September 10th. The respondents proposed preventative maintenance costs, and they were evaluated as long as regular and emergency hourly costs for repair services. While Helm did provide the overall lowest pricing, their efforts to repair the rooftop units at the ATC, this building, have been unsuccessful, and Helm is not certified in the Aaron rooftop units that are on the ATC facility. And Hartwig is certified, and as a result, Hartwig Mechanical was identified as the best fit for the college, and the recommendation is to award all 3 packages for not to exceed of $220,000 for all preventative maintenance and repair, and this unit bidded contract will be a 3-year term with 2 one-year renewals. Are there any questions on this item? It's a little complex.
John?
Yes, so when you say, I don't see the Helm was how much cheaper total?
Overall, total estimated annual cost for Helm was $157,438. Hartwig was $169,035.
Before, but Helm's not technically qualified to service some of the equipment?
They are not certified in the rooftop units on this building, and they have not been able to repair the issues for the past 2 years.
Okay, so they've been materially failed to meet the terms of the bid if you can't service the equipment that we have, correct?
Correct, they're not certified.
Joe, if you're not certified to do the work and you can't do it, and you're not gonna sub out to somebody that can as part of your bidding process, they fail to meet the terms of the bid, correct? Okay, thank you.
All right, we will move on to item E. Mike Harris, Mason Contractor, for $257,280. This is for the tuck pointing repair and reconstruction of that damaged turret on the pedestrian bridge south of the student center. As a reminder, the masonry crumbled during the initial evaluations in July and is currently roped off as a safety hazard. Bid 25-23, tuck pointing phase 2, received 3 responses that were opened on October 3rd, and Mike Harris, Mason Contractor, was the lowest responsible bidder, and this does include a 10% contingency.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we talked about this at the COW, but these bids seem wildly variant. Is there any reason for that? I mean, they're at 250, Otto-Braun is close to 500, and Bergland is 800 plus.
Rick, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Do these people know what they're bidding on, or?
They should. They read the package.
So this was bid out. Mike Harris was the original contractor that won the tuck point. So he is the most familiar inherently with the issue at hand and what has occurred. We have no idea why Bergland came in so high. We just couldn't figure that one out. The Autobahn was probably because of their unfamiliarity with the wall and the fact that it was a rubble wall that needed to be replaced is the thoughts that we have. we are confident in Mike Harris's number. We have spoken to him, the architects have spoken to him, and we feel that that's going to be an accurate number, so.
Any questions?
No, I'm satisfied
Okay, good.
with the representation. I'll remember it.
Thank you.
All right. And the last item on this purchase report is for Illumination Consulting for $153,600. This expense is for consulting services to support the development and implementation of the National Institute of Standards and Technology's cybersecurity framework. And the goal of these services is to provide and to build and maintain a CFS, a compliant administrative, physical, and technical security program. This is for 16 hours a week plus any emergencies. Any questions?
What's the total on that again?
$153,600.
Isaiah?
For someone who's working 16 hours a week,
It's a consulting service, yes.
And again, what are they consulting on?
This would be for a virtual CISO.
For, what's the term again?
The term.
The term.
It's a one-year contract.
Did that go out for bid?
No, it did not. It is not required to go out to bid
It's not
for
required,
professional
but it
services.
didn't go out for bid. You didn't go out and get quotes or competing services or anything?
It's the company that did the penetration test.
Yeah, I know.
So we went back to them and said, what would it cost to do this? And this is what they came back with.
Well, I'm just going to refer back to, and I know I requested this, or something like it, but I'll refer back to your grass versus turf thing. When you didn't originally like your grass quotes, you went out and you started looking at turf.
Mm-hmm.
What was your initial thought when you saw this figure?
When I saw this figure, based on information that you had mentioned about how expensive it would be and how many it would be, several hundred thousand to get an experience.
Well, I would say it'd be something like that with somebody's, benefits and the like, but if they're only putting in that many hours per,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're taking advantage of us. Sorry, you can put that in the minutes.
Sorry,
so.
They may be, but I don't know how you get quotes from somebody else to help cure problems that this individual knows about, this company knows about, and has an idea of how to fix them. It's not my area of expertise, but
I have a question.
Trustee Nelson.
Mr. Jenks, did you get the impression that this particular firm wasn't that interested in continuing to work for us? Not that I would ever quote someone a high fee I didn't want to represent, but.
So this firm has done a lot for the college.
Sure.
Over the last year for a nominal price. They continue to work with the college. They continue to look out for the best interests of the college and tell us and try and guide us on what we're doing. I'm assuming that all of the stuff that they're going to do for us is going to be beneficial to the college. But whether or not this is a fair price for a virtual CISO, I'm not 100% sure. But I do know that if we change to a different entity now, that entity is going to have to spend a fair amount of time figuring out where we stand, whereas this one won't.
No, I don't think so. Given the report that might be available that we could share with a vendor, that would lay the groundwork for, where they would they start. I'm not asking for any changes for it right now, but you might in your free time, just go out and see who else offers the services and, what they're looking for to provide a reasonable quote. I'm not asking for any changes, and I'm not asking for any changes before the regular, the voting meeting. But I always go out for even quotes on things like this, just so people know that we're looking at it, keep people honest and stuff like that. All right. Any other questions? Is there?
So the quote that you got from this consultant agency, is that the market rate for the type of area in which they do, just in general, overall?
I believe that it's not unreasonable. Whether or not it's totally economical, we will have to figure that out. But I also figured it wasn't unreasonable, and because it was the consultant we've used for the past year and a half, it seemed logical to continue with that particular consultant.
Right. And
But
when you're hiring a firm, not just a single individual, too.
Yeah.
You've got a team working on it, and I'm familiar with that. And where sometimes the numbers may seem high, but you're actually tapping into the resources of just more than one person or one more resource at that organization. So, okay. Thank you. John.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I always defer to someone who knows something about this, that being you. But I am leaning towards supporting this. I just wanted to say that.
You're leaning towards what?
Supporting the
Yeah, that's why I'm not asking for a change, because this gets us started on it sooner with somebody that already has done some groundwork with it, that brings a team to it, and then after that year term, you can determine, how you want to go forward with any additional staffing or change in staffing and stuff like that. So works for me. I'm always a quote guy. I always get quotes. So, and it might be even kind of like the Harris thing. This quote may be lower substantially than other ones because they've already done work and they're familiar with the system. Somebody else may come in. Oh, we're going to charge you $250,000 for it. Oh, okay.
Makes our job easier.
Makes our job easier. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the cash and investment report then. So operating cash and investments increased $10.5 million from August 31st to September 30th. This is primarily the result of property tax receipts from the various counties, as second installments were received in early September. The percent of operating cash and investment is now at 105.21%. Working cash funds increased slightly due to interest earned during the month, and capital funds increased approximately $5 million due to the receipt of the property taxes for debt service and life safety. Are there any questions on the cash and investment report?
Any questions? John?
Ellen, I would take it that we're past in a good position financially
We
this
are in a
month.
good position.
All right, thank you.
Last month or the month
All
before
right.
that, too.
The last item I have this evening is the 2025 tax levy and setting date for the truth in taxation hearing. In 2024, just as a reminder, there was an amendment to the notice requirements for the Illinois Truth in Taxation Law that required taxing districts to post website notice for a period of not less than 30 consecutive days. The law still requires notices published in a newspaper of not more than 14 days, not less than 7 days prior to the date of the public hearing. Due to this change, I have to bring this to the board in October, and the public hearing will occur December 16th to accommodate the posting requirements, as there are not 30 days between the November and the December meetings. The proposed tax levy amount is expected to increase $2,694,923, or 9.99% for the property tax extension and debt service extension. And the debt service extension is going to decrease $816, or 0.01%, for a combined extension increase of $2,694,107, or 6.5%. The tax levy rate in total is a decrease of .0088. The key driver in this increase is EAV. The 2024 EAV increased higher than projected. I had forecasted a 10.22% EAV increase across the district, and actual last year was 12.20%. Winnebago County at this time estimates that they are increasing by 10.29%. Let me restart. Winnebago County is, at this time, is the only county that have provided the 2025 EAV estimates. I am projecting a 10.29% increase overall. Winnebago County is increasing 12.73% and is nearly 70% of the total EAV. Since this calculation, Boone County released their EAV projection with an 11.21% increase. The tax rate for education and operations and maintenance are maintaining the same rate at .23 and .04. There is no increase in the dollars requested for tort, financial audit, or protection, health, and safety. And as an added note, just so you know, PHS, or protection, health, and safety, that can be capped at .05 cents or $4,835,885, and the college is only requesting $1.5 million. Bond interest is as required as we maintain equal extension amount of around $14.5 million annually until the bonds are paid in full, which would be in levy year 2031 or around January 1st of 2033. The college also received a letter from ICCB authorizing the district's eligibility for a special tax level pursuant to 110 ILCS 805 of an additional .80 cents. This is intended to allow the college to increase its taxing authority to the most recently reported statewide average. We received this notification from the past 4 years, and we have not acted on this opportunity. One added note, for those who challenge our tax rate in order to be eligible for the ICCB equalization grants, college must tax at 95% of their legal maximum operating tax rate. And those tax rates, as a reminder for Rock Valley College, are education at .23, which was approved in referendum in 1985, and operations and maintenance .04, which is approved by referendum in 1972 and have not changed, obviously, since. Are there any questions?
I know, last year I noticed the educational rate was .2223. I thought we were always maxing out at 2.3.
When we put together our proposal, we do max out based on what we expect the EAV to be. I underestimated the EAV last year. So when we did this initially, the EAV I thought we would hit turned out to be higher, so our rate went down.
The rate. So this year, you're estimating 9.5, and yet all the counties you cited were 2 or 3 points higher. Are you going to be under it again?
I probably will be under again at this point, since I wasn't expecting Boone County to come out at, 12%.
Yeah. Well, that's good planning. It is. It's good planning. Also, let it be known that our tax rate is going down.
Slightly, yes.
It's going down. That's a good thing.
John?
Can you go over the ICCB recommendation again? And we're not doing that, I take it.
We are not doing that. But
And why not?
in order to do that, one, it would be additional tax that we would levy onto the residents in our district. And also part of that process requires a board approval, opportunity for the community to petition and to take it to referendum.
Stay away from it.
Well, it'll never pass.
Well, we've had those opportunities before, and we've always passed on them.
We have in the past 4 years.
Yeah, we passed on them, just to keep our visibility.
And we
don't need it.
But that prevents us from getting something from the ICCB?
No, by us passing on that additional rate does not prevent us from getting anything from the ICCB. But based on our rates that were approved in referendum in the 1980s and 1970s, we have to at least levy at 95% of that rate.
Which we are doing.
We are, because we're trying to do 100% of that rate.
100% this year.
All right, thank you.
Right. And just to clarify for anybody who's watching out there, even though just to be honest with Bob, we may not be, the tax rate's not going up, but if the AV's going up and we're collecting a good chunk of change, it's.
Yeah, but I always sell the idea that
I know. It's,
The
people
other
are
guys-
still giving us money,
So
Bob.
so does the mayor of Rockville.
Yeah, he talks about the levy, but it's really the rate
It's a rate.
that's holding rate.
So,
So we need to talk about the rate because it is going down. Again.
All right, if there's no other questions,
as
I'm
people
done.
can't afford to buy a new home or pay for groceries, that's.
Well, that's because the value is going up.
Thank you.
Okay. move on.
Operations discussion, board liaison, trustee Trojan.
Now we'll go up to Mr. Jenks.
I'm back on the hot seat, Rick.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So I'm going to begin the discussions tonight for operations and bring up the Article 2 operations, which is for a second reading, which is the policy manual for the particular operations section. It was brought forward to the board last month per the policy, and this is the second month that it's presented for a second reading. Unless anybody has any particular questions about the policies.
Have you received any comments or questions on it to this date?
No.
Nope. All right. Any questions tonight? Report given.
So I will move on to the second item. The second item is in your packet is the actual board report for the particular agreement between the RVC Foundation and the RVC board for the fundraising for the artificial turf that was mentioned in the earlier presentations. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'll promptly refer them over.
I'm all for approving money for a project that'll help pay for athletic scholarships. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Naming rights based on a project that I really don't have, that I don't support, but that's okay. It's kind of a half of a win.
The next item on my presentation for tonight is the Downtown West presentation. So that's the end of the
Break my
presentation.
ankle scholarship is awarded to. What?
Okay, so we'll start at the beginning of the presentation. That's all right with you guys?
Sure.
So this is the beginning. This is a quarterly presentation. I had given a similar presentation in July, looking at the overall money that we have awarded, what we expensed in all the 3 years of the project. I know it seems weird, but yeah, 3 years of the project. So these are all of the items. As you can see, we've expensed a running total of about $13,874,000, which is about 25% of the overall project's cost. We have a contingency of $2.222 million of contingency, of which we've spent $97,000, which is about 4% of the actual contingency to this point. So we're 25% way through the project, and we've only used 4% contingency, or less than $100,000. Now, I suspect that that contingency will go up as we work through some discrepancies between bid package 4 and bid package 5. Bid package 4 was the first bid, bid package 5 was the second major bid, and there will be some discrepancies that we are working through currently at this point. But overall, I would say that the project is on time, it's in budget right now, and we're moving forward, so.
Which is an improvement.
I also want to point out that we do have $2 million worth of grant money. I have not included that in here. That's just money that will come off of this total that's available through the state and I believe federal government grants.
Cool.
These are the change orders. The ones with asterisks are the new ones. As you can see, there's a lot of change orders, but as you can also note, there are debits and credits. So I've been working with the design team and the construction teams to look not only for, yes, proposed change orders that are debits, but also areas where we can save money by doing things slightly differently or more efficiently by looking through the process, which is why we've been able to maintain a current total change order of 97,000.
Great.
Right.
Any questions?
There's some, where we're at, where we're moving to, we are beginning the furniture, fixture, and equipment phase. You will be seeing bids coming in for that. That will be equipment in the automotive labs and things of that nature. So that will be coming in the future here. We are moving ahead appropriately. I do have a few pictures. This is the Downtown Learning Center. The walls are being erected on the exterior of that. That's the other side of the Downtown Learning Center, further to the west. This is on the second floor of the Downtown Learning Center. This area in here will be where the conference center is for the public to come in and have presentations. So that's looking out over the second floor. This is also looking out at the second floor in the opposite direction of the DLC. First time we've been able to get up on the second floor to see that, so I wanted to share that with you. Normally I would have given you a 360 flyover, but quite honestly we were just too busy and didn't get a chance to get to it. I do have a quick video that I hope Carly can.
That was really quick.
That was a quick video.
You try.
We've been hacked. We need that cybersecurity consultant right now.
We'll have a little assistance here just to see.
What time it goes for that?
So this is the people. I know the board members had wondered about the automotive area. So this shows you that area out there that's all in the gravel is the automotive lab area. It's difficult to get a sense of the volume in a picture, so I did that short video to show you what that's kind of look like, hopefully when it's complete. And then if you can go back to close that out. There we go. This is the area, so the area I showed you was over here with the gravel. This is the area to the west of it. This is actually collision repair area. So showing you some of the other areas within the building. And this is in the automotive section. This is the area I showed you. This is the automotive area. Back here is e-vehicles. And over here is some of the lab work areas in the downtown training center. Any questions? If any of you ever want to tour the site, just get a hold of me and we can schedule a time with Ringland Johnson and they can walk you around the site. If you are going to do that, you have to wear closed-toed.
You have to be dressed, appropriately.
Your toes can't be exposed. You have to have boots on or tennis shoes. Yeah. Work boots, something to that effect. They will provide other PPEs that are needed, which is a hard hat, vest, and glasses. But you do have to wear the appropriate footwear. How's that?
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Any questions for Rick?
I'll move on to the next item, which is CL2. This is just a verbal update, just so that you're aware that project is taking back off again. If you recall, we were on a slight delay because the faculty had taken their summer break. The architect firm is back, and we are meeting regularly with the different divisions. We are still in what's called the programmatic phase, where we're trying to figure out the programs that are going to be in there. We will be switching over in the next week or two from that to schematic design. Schematic design is where you take all this information and you figure out if it'll fit in the box or not. And you try and figure out what will make it and what won't make it while to still remain within budget. So that's where the area we're moving into next. That also consists of many, many more meetings with faculty, staff, so that we can move forward with that project.
Okay, any questions?
In terms of figuring that out, how long do you expect that to take?
Schematic design is usually at least a 2-month process.
Okay, so figuring out what classes are going to be included in that building still, or what?
Well, we have an idea of what classes we want in there.
Okay.
We also have a budget, and we have a certain amount of square footage. So we have to see if we can fit all of this in this square footage.
Without going into specifics, is it changed from what classes were hosted in that building before?
So where we're going now is still in the original pathway that was the facilities master plan and was originally designed, which
Okay.
was the music and the community, arts and community, basically.
Okay. That's all the questions.
So the next item that I'm going to discuss is change orders for other projects, because oddly enough, we have other projects going on besides the downtown. So one of the projects that's going on is the HSC third floor build out and the second elevator installation. As you can see, the highlighted one, PCO 11, is the one that has been added since the last time. That is actually for waterproofing the perimeter of the elevator pit. Once that pit was opened up, they determined that they needed some additional vapor barrier. That project originally had a contingency of $203,600, and right now we are at $197,471. The third floor is basically complete, and they are currently erecting the shaft for the elevator. So we're probably 80% through the project.
Okay. Any questions?
The next item then is the security upgrades. That project has been completed. We had a $30,000 contingency. They are giving us back $27,464 that we did not use of the contingency.
Great. Any other questions on that? Great.
The next item is tuck pointing. This one's a little more entertaining. So this one, we had an original contingency of $50,000. We did find some areas in the PEC and a couple of stairwells that needed further improvement, so we did authorize them to do that tuck pointing. We are actually also getting back a credit for the wall that fell, because if you think about it, they actually didn't do that work. So that section, we went back and got credits for them, so you can see those listed. We do have another change order coming in on that project, so although we're getting credits for the wall that fell, we also discovered expansion joints that are cracking, and the joint is actually rusted out. So we have to actually go back and fix about 4 of those expansion joints within the project. So that'll be coming up at the next board meeting.
Just 4? Can we make sure that the expansion joints are all good, or?
We are making sure everything is good on the bridge, yes. We are looking over it with a fine-tooth comb, so.
All right.
Is any of this tuck pointing work related or unrelated to the purchasing report?
Purchase of a what?
Purchasing report. Didn't we have tuck pointing or?
Well, we have tuck pointing phase 2 that we went out to bid for, because
Okay.
once the wall collapsed, the price to fix it was greater than 10% of the project.
Right.
So we had to go out and get credits back for the work that wasn't done, create bid documents for the new work that needed to be done, and go out for a rebid.
And the vendor we're currently working with under, and we're, kind of these change orders kind of apply to, is the one that we're planning to award the bid to,
He
correct?
was the lowest bidder for the phase 2 project,
Okay,
yes.
very good.
Mike Harris.
Okay.
These are all union
Yes.
Yes, otherwise they wouldn't meet the RPO.
Yeah.
So, the last item that I have is a personnel report. We have one professor, English professor, who is retiring December 31st. And that's all for that, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions? John?
Sure, on our retiring professor, is his position going to be appointed? Is it going to be not an adjunct and a full-time faculty member, or is that still up in the air?
I'll turn that over to Dr. Amanda Smith.
Yes, we've actually already opened a search for a permanent replacement for that
And that'll be a tenure track professor?
That would be correct.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay.
The final item in the operations calendar for tonight is the RVC events calendar. It's listed in your packet. I will mention that the RVC Golden Eagles Family Breakfast is October 16th at 8 a.m. in the atrium. Rockford Mass Transit will be out here on October 22nd, and they will be talking to students about their free pass program. We also have the CICU transfer fair, which is a private Illinois College University thing. If you have any questions about it, ask
Any
Dr.
other questions?
Pryor.
I just want to ask, what day was that?
The 16th.
The fair is on October 22nd, along with the Rockford Mass Transit.
Great. Thank
Question?
you.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good.
Okay. Do you have any other or unfinished business?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Regarding unfinished business, we presented Chairman Gorski with a proposal that came from Cultivate Power regarding the solar field lease, and he asked us. This happened in under new business at the September board meeting, and he asked the college to then bring back our recommendation. So we reached out to IMEG to see. We reached out to IMEG to determine if this was a good opportunity for the college or not. Long story short, the answer is absolutely not. They do not recommend that we move forward with this. RVC will not receive the power generated by the system to offset campus utility usage. RVC will not receive any reduction in utility bills or lower utility rates. And typically, this is a 25-year project. They're still sort of baffled by the fact that they're asking for a 40-year lease. And so, and there's more to it, but the bottom line is this would not be a good opportunity or business lease for us to agree to. Any questions regarding this? And trustees, you have this email with this information that you just received today.
I read the email. What I wonder is there a good opportunity available? In the broad perspective.
Yeah. If this was something we were really interested in, IMEG said that they can identify local businesses or opportunities for us. The real question is, would we really want to give up that property, our real estate in that space, right in front of Mulford as a solar field? But
No.
right. And so that's another reason why we were saying no at the time. All right? If this is something that you want as a board, though, let us know.
Well, I think the board consensus is no.
No, okay, fair enough. Thank you. I have another topic under unfinished. Well, I'll just talk to him separately. We have the fire tower agreement that we're expecting soon from Loves Park. Remember, we've been working on that. It's gone back and forth between Loves Park and us. Our attorneys reviewed it. It's in their hands. We think there's just some minor things that we believe that their attorneys will agree to, therefore Loves Park will agree to. We thought we would have that agreement last week. We were hoping to have it in the packet. We were hoping to have it by today, so we can have it to you, but they said we think we'll have it this week. What we're asking is that we'll send it to you via email, but this is something maybe you'll be willing to vote on for this Board of Trustees meeting, which is why I'm bringing it up in the open. You'll have it in advance, and if you don't feel comfortable, then we don't move forward with it, and we'll just prolong it a little bit longer.
Put it on the agenda, and if we're uncomfortable, we just want to table it.
Perfect.
Any questions at that? No, okay.
All right.
What's that?
Oh. Did you?
No questions for you, I just want to make a comment
Go ahead.
about something different.
Oh, okay. Okay, you take, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, then, under, we consider this new business, we have not talked about this one yet, but the OSF lease third amendment or agreement. As you know, that we are in the process of renovating OSF, which includes the second elevator. That means that we're taking up a little additional square footage from OSF, which means that we have to change the agreement some. We thought we were going to receive that agreement a while ago, some hiccups on OSF's part, but we expect to have that this week as well. We plan to share that with you when we have the agreement, and we're asking for you to consider approving that agreement at the October board meeting as well.
Lower the square footage, keep the rate the same, just tell them that the rate increase and move on. I mean, you think I'm joking, but really, come on. I mean, how much square footage are we talking?
Do you recall it? It was minimal.
Size of an elevator, I don't know, 10 by 12, something like that.
It was small.
120 square feet.
Tell them we'll bring in donuts once a month or something. All right. Yeah, does anybody feel it would be uncomfortable voting on that at the next meeting?
Well, let's see.
Right.
I'd do the same as we did with the last one.
Right.
Put it on and.
Put it on, we'll consider it, yeah, okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bob?
I've been getting news releases about Stellantis planning to invest $600 million to reopen Belvedere Assembly for 2 new Jeep vehicles in 2027. Good news for Belvedere.
Right, good news for us, hopefully.
Yeah.
Good news for us,
Well,
hopefully.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, is that it?
Fresh off the press.
All right. And I remind you, though, anytime you correspond on your phone during a meeting, your discussions are subject to FOIA.
Yes, well,
Just letting you know.
it's public.
Right,
notice.
Joe?
The public,
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
public notice.
Okay.
Public notice.
It's okay, but you'd have to maybe give that off your phone,
Okay.
if it was FOIA.
John, did you have
Okay,
something?
well, Kevin
Yes.
Haas just wrote the story.
I wanted to make sure that I had our retreat meeting on my calendar. So when is our retreat set for? May I ask that question?
Was that January 31st?
Last January,
Yes.
Saturday.
Saturday in January.
Last Saturday in January.
Which is the 31st?
Yeah.
I think so.
And since we're talking about meeting dates, don't forget November 6th.
January
Well,
31st, John, confirmed.
Yes,
It's on my
November
phone.
6th is,
What time?
is it on
8 o'clock.
No, because it's not.
Okay, okay.
All right. And November 6th, that was the other question I was going to ask about. That's when we have our get-together?
Yes, sir.
And
That'll be
that's
at,
where, it's at the Aviation Center, right?
Correct.
And what time does it start again?
We will, our meeting starts at 5, but we'll offer, AAR will offer tours at 4 o'clock.
November 6th?
Thursday, November 6th.
And if there's nothing else, I just want to
Aviation.
kind of review other business, unfinished business, new business that was presented today, kind of, because they're kind of related. So we had a vendor bid on the janitorial that came in and raised questions about, one, wanted it because they're a local business, but also raised questions about the technical aspects of it. So again, I'm asking legal and the administration to review that. But then we also had another bid come in. We had a vendor, Helm, come in on a project which they didn't seem qualified to bid on, and did they not understand, I'm not asking, I mean, maybe did they didn't understand the specs or the terms of the bid? And then we had another one for tuck pointing that went to essentially a vendor that's really familiar with the process, and that's why we think maybe the bid was the lowest bid. Then we had one, and I didn't mean to disparage the IT consultant, but I know you were not required to go out for bid, but I still would have gone out for quotes on it to get a feel for what was going on, just because it is easier for us to know where we stand in bidding and the like. And Joe's already reminded us, even if it's a $25 difference, we can't anymore kind of favor the local business for it. The lowest bid is the lowest bid on some stuff. So, and I know the IT stuff is independent of some of the bidding stuff, but it's just, I think it's just good practice to be consistent, and it's also good practice to kind of review, kind of consider, why was the tuck pointing thing such, variance, and why did Helm even bid on something that they couldn't meet the requirements for? So it was just kind of strange, and it's just strange that they all come up in the same meeting today. So that's it. Just not asking for an answer, just kind of making me think a little bit more about this in terms of consistency, and consistency, like Bob was saying earlier, he likes numbers, he likes trends, he likes to see things in a consistent fashion. So we do not have a closed session, so you don't have to leave the room quite yet, but give me a chance to go into what? Next regular board trustees meeting is October 28, 2025, 5:15. The meeting will be held in the Performing Arts Room, PAR 0214, and Educational Resources, ERC, on the main campus. And the next committee of the whole meeting is November 4th, 2 days before the November 6th meeting at 2025. 5:15 p.m. The meeting will be held in the Performing Arts Room, PAR 0214, Educational Resource Center, ERC, main campus. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion by Trojan, seconded by Nelson, and everyone else. Roll call.
Nelson,
Yes.
Trojan.
Yes.
Goldsmith, yes. Kudia. Yes. Blake.
Yes.
Salto. Yes. Gorski.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
We are adjourned.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.